Good morning and welcome back to thedailyblue.com. Coming up next on A Ship Called Relation, we're going to be talking about everything jealousy and what leads up to jealousy. Plus, your favorite game is back, Sink or Swim. And at the end of the show, we'll tell you how not to be jealous of your partners. It's all coming up next today on A Ship Called Relation. Welcome back to A Ship Called Relation. I'm your host, Jason Galka, and today we're talking about jealousy. What exactly leads up to jealousy, and why would you be jealous in your relationship, number one? We're going to talk about all that today. Very special guests are joining me today. Desiree is back, Kelly is back, and a new familiar face. Well, you know him because I talk about him all the time, but this is the love of my life, Mr. John Graziano. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi.
How are you guys today?
Doing good.
Good.
Back for another show.
Yes, well, we're going to be talking about jealousy today. So first, I want to talk about some of our own personal stories because we were talking about this before the show. Like, all of us have been jealous at some point in our lives and in our relationship and whoever we're with. So I kind of want to just talk a little bit about your own personal stories. We'll kind of figure out what made you jealous, and then we'll talk about some research that I did on my own. So Desiree, you start us off.
Okay. My take on jealousy is you're only jealous when you have a reason to be, or you think you have a reason to be.
Okay.
You never start out usually jealous until something makes you realize, like, oh wow, something can get in the way of my relationship or something like that. So, yes, I've been jealous many times, but it always came with history, as you should say. So, I think jealousy is just one of those things that it's a negative aspect on your relationship, and if there's a reason to be jealous, then it's just not a good situation to put yourself into.
So it came to you first because you're probably in the newest relationship out of all of us here. So is there any jealousy that's going on now? Even if you're not talking to him about it, like, you know, is there anything that he does or?
To be honest, no. No, we've never actually had that jealousy factor, I guess because we never really felt like we had a reason to be. There was no issues going on.
So he doesn't feel jealous either about anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because sometimes, like a woman's intuition, you know if your man is jealous about something. And actually a story that somebody wrote in for Sink or Swim later talks about, you know, she has that woman's intuition that her man does get jealous. And we'll talk about that.
I mean, I'm sure he does, but nothing that's vocalized to the point where, like, it's hindering our relationship type of thing. So.
Okay, excellent. So when you were jealous in those points, why were you jealous? Like, what do you think it was?
It's insecurity.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's insecurity. It's feeling like something's threatening your relationship in another way that you feel you have no control over. So if you have trust in your partner and if you really feel comfortable, then you really wouldn't be jealous, or you'd have a little bit of jealousy, but nothing severe.
Right.
But you know, if it gets to that point, then it's just something that's negatively affecting your relationship and your personal feelings too.
Right. And actually doing my research, insecurity is the number one thing that causes jealousy. But I mean, we're all beautiful people, and we're all, you know, we have no reason to be insecure. And I'm kind of learning now as I get older too, like the people that you're with or you're having a relationship with, if it's not the one, it's not the one, and you shouldn't feel insecure about yourself. You know, and I know it's easier said than done. I mean, we all have our own insecurities, but it's definitely easier said than done. But Kelly, what about you?
I've definitely been jealous. I've definitely had moments where I've been jealous. Not so much recently, but with a past boyfriend, he was very, he kept in touch with his ex-girlfriend. They were still friends, so they would text a lot, and that's something that always bothered me. And I felt like our relationship was fine, but still, you're talking to someone that you used to be with. It definitely didn't sit well with me.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not always insecurities. It's certain things that, I mean, I guess it is too. Certain things that your mate might be doing like that. Like, that's actually something that we're going to talk about when we get to your story next.
Joy.
Tell us your little jealousy story.
I was working at a bar at a nightclub. And we just got engaged like 2 weeks prior. It was actually New Year's of 2012.
Coming into 2013.
Yeah, so I was serving somebody, and he was at the bar, and I leaned over, and there was a guy leaning over trying to touch his leg, trying to kiss him. Yeah.
Oh no.
So I just put the bottles down on the bar, went over to the guy, grabbed him, brought him over to the bar, and quietly told him, I said, give me a reason why I shouldn't kill you right now.
Oh no.
And he was just like,
That's a prime example
That
of
is
jealousy.
amazing. Oh, yeah.
But why did you feel that way? I mean, we worked together fairly. I mean, we kind of moved
But-
really quickly too.
they knew we would, a lot of people that were there, including this one, knew that we were together. So when you're doing something like that in front of me, it's
Yes.
you're trying to get me to get a felony. That's how I
Yes.
look at it, you know what I'm saying?
Disrespectful.
Very.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he's trying to make you jealous. That's,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of jealousy has
And
to
I
do
was
with
trying to
that.
hurt him, which
Yeah.
you can see in his face. He was like, like that,
Yeah.
which eggs me on.
Yeah.
Because I'm Italian, so, putting pain in people's
Of
lives is what we
course.
do. But the guy was drunk, and then I let him go a few minutes later and stuff, and he's like,
Oh.
I'm like, this guy is a nut.
But see,
Yeah.
that's kind of that's a prime example. But let's talk about why you felt that way, though, because we were together fairly new. I mean, we met that September, we got engaged that December, and here it is New Year's. So we moved really, really quick. But what we have works. But for me, I don't know why did you feel you
I
had
just
to do
saw it
that?
at the last second. Like, he didn't have time to react to it. And I react like this. On a dime, I will react.
I'm a slow reactor.
Yeah, I'm a fast reactor. If it's gonna get physical, that was the time to get physical.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna put a stop to it right then and there.
But why did you feel
Well,
jealous
because
about
the week
it, though?
prior, his ex was there, and he was trying to get Jason into, we should hang out again. I want to talk to you, and that ticked me off too.
Of course.
Where he was the next one that was gonna get it. So this is all happening like within weeks of each other. So at
There's
this
a lot of
point,
drama in the gay world, obviously.
100%.
But why would you feel jealous? I mean, you know that we have a committed relationship, okay? So what was just going through your mind? What were you feeling insecure about?
I just don't want anybody to try to not that they would have, but coax you away or try and talk into you and stuff. And I think it's disrespectful when you know somebody's with somebody else and you're gonna try to make a move on them. I mean, for somebody that does something like that, and then when you get knocked out, you deserve it. You know what I'm saying? You can't say I didn't know it was coming.
Yeah.
If you hit on somebody or make a move on somebody that's with somebody, and their partner knocks you out or goes after you, like another person that.
Well,
will,
violence isn't always the answer, but
sometimes it is.
but you
Sometimes
but you
it
have
is.
to understand that when you're with somebody that loves you and you love them. I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Not that it's going to with
No.
us, but
But then 2 weeks before the second incident, the first incident, there's another guy, which I won't even mention his name, hit him up and he goes, "Is your boyfriend working tonight?" Because I was at work at the bar. Jason was home.
I get a lot of attention being in the public eye, apparently.
Jason thought that this guy was looking to go down the bar where I was. So Jason's like, "Yeah, John's at work. He's at the bar." He's like, "Well, I don't want to be, I feel like I'm being bad, but I think you're cute. I want,
It was a completely different situation. I thought he wanted to go down to the bar because I wasn't there that night. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, he has a little crush on my man. So I became jealous. I mean, these are all beginning stages of our relationship, and we're going to talk about when you are in a new relationship also. But I felt that he was going after my man, and I was like, oh, heck no.
Yeah,
But then it turned out he wanted me. So that, for me, that
And then
changed
I said,
everything.
"Heck no."
Yeah.
And he stayed. Every time this guy saw me at the bar, he stood he had his eyes on me the whole time.
But
and
that's
he
part
stood
of the
feet-
problem when you're in a brand new relationship too. And I think you're most jealous in those beginning stages
Absolutely.
because obviously you have an attraction for this person. You do want to be with them, and that's where the insecurity comes in. Like, especially in business, you encounter so many men and so many women. It's like you're kind of figuring out in your head what is it that's better about them than you, which you shouldn't be thinking about that. But again, easier
But we
said
all
than
do.
done.
And
all
past
do.
relationships as well, because you've been in relationships in the past that.
And you've been cheated on in the
yeah.
past.
So
Exactly.
That's another thing. If you
Yeah.
have history, even with other people, it's going to carry over into your next relationship. Like,
Yeah.
oh, is this person going to do the same thing that happened to this time? And it
Exactly.
builds up all this jealousy and
Yeah.
rage in you. But I think the biggest thing with jealousy is just the fear of losing that person
Right.
to something that you can't control, like
Exactly.
somebody else.
But how much jealousy is too much jealousy? I mean, it's okay to be like, the biggest thing that I had a problem with in the beginning stages of our relationship is that same situation, you were still getting messages from people of your past. And it's like, well, you know, at the time you were with them a lot longer than we were together. So in my head, I'm thinking, well, who's to say you're not going to leave me to go to them? So that's why I was getting jealous. But I was never to the point where I was stalking out phones and social
Yeah.
media. That's where jealousy gets too much.
That's
Has that
what I
ever
think.
happened to any of you guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think on both ends too. Like I've
Yeah.
gotten it done to me, and I've gotten that crazy where I'm like, let me see your phone and let me go through your texts and where were you last night? I was at work. You know, like when you're hounding someone like that,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
just not a good
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Right.
your
If it's
jealousy
putting
of
stress
yes.
on your relationship and it's becoming a fight and an issue all the time.
When you're
it's just
feeling way
not-
more jealous than you are feeling secure, then you know it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree with
We
that.
tease each other like, you know, let me see your phone, but like I trust
Yeah.
him. Like
Of
I don't
course.
feel
Now
like
we
I
laugh
need to,
about it now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
But that's a good part of that's a good jealousy.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah.
It's just, I feel like you have to have some jealousy in your relationship because it shows your attraction, your love for that other
That
person.
you care. And,
That you care, but you don't want to be over psychopathic about it, you know, like we were just talking about. So it's okay to have a little bit of jealousy in your relationships.
I think
So-
it shows that you want them. It shows
Exactly.
that you're afraid to lose them. It shows that, you know, if there's another girl, a guy talking to your, you know, person that you're with, that you're like, like why are they doing that? I want to
Yeah.
be doing that. And if you don't feel that at all, then it's like,
and it shows you'll fight for
Yes.
your partner.
Yes.
Not 2 years later.
Yes. We're working on our third year now, going
Yeah.
strong.
I do it again.
no more guys at the bar.
Yeah.
Now,
I quit shortly after that.
Good.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Avoid
was,
all the situations.
yeah.
Well, it was something like, well, let's talk about that a little bit because that could be, you know, some viewers' problems too. Like where you were working the bar, you also had your regular full-time job at the time. So the bar was like an extra money kind of thing. You did it because you were single at the time, but you know, it's something like that that can really strain your relationship because you're bringing on all these other insecurities.
It did cause arguments with me being
Yeah.
there and stuff. So it did like.
Because that's, you know, when you're in a bar and you're a bartender, it's, you know, your job is to kind of be flirtatious, okay, maybe be a little touchy-feely, you know, you touch the hand or whatever, but
course.
flirting is a big thing. And if you have your significant other there watching all of this, how do you think that makes them feel?
I agree with you 100%, which is why I left.
Well, that's, I think, is a good move. Not that it's not a good position for you to be in, but I feel like it does add unnecessary stress. And if
Exactly.
it's like, if you're always in that public eye or like in that kind of way, like
I was,
that's
yeah.
just adding to the negativity in your relationship. And if you don't need to be there, then
That's why I left the
you can
place.
step out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was threatened. But that's what's
That's
You
another
are
show.
not.
That's another story.
next week.
But in all seriousness, doing my own research, the number one thing that causes jealousy in any relationship is insecurities because we are constantly looking at who our partners are interacting with throughout the day and we're kind of comparing ourselves to them. So the number one thing you have to do is stop that. And even though it's easier said than done, I mean, for me, my own personal experiences, just evolving and getting older, it's like, it's going to be what it is. You know, if this isn't the person for you, then you're going to find the next person
Yep.
that's for you. And I think a lot of people get hung up on one person, and because they're so jealous and they're becoming almost stalkerish, you're killing that relationship right from the word go.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
agree.
absolutely.
Especially if it's in the beginning, because
Yeah.
it's only going to get worse.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
If it's in the beginning and it's that severe, then it's never gonna get better. You're never gonna wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm not jealous anymore.
No,
Yeah.
You're
it
just
doesn't
gonna
happen
get
that way.
more
It's
bitter.
kind of a process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, grab your cards. It is time to play Sink or Swim, the Jealousy Edition. Here we go. Okay, our first story. You guys ready? Hi, this is from Kerry. To be blunt about it, I'm in a relationship and dating my best friend and love of my life. It's honestly a dream come true. There's absolutely everything I would do for her, and it's really bothersome when my jealousy gets in the way. I've expressed the reasons of my jealousy to her once she started to notice my behavior warp at the time I have gotten jealous. But before that, I never said a word and kept my thoughts to myself. Soon the jealousy would simmer, but now since she asks about it, I answer her with an honest set of mind. She's told me she is frustrated with me sometimes, and I always respond that I would work on it or try to get better. I don't want to see her upset with me or frustrated with me, because that's the last thing I want. I need some help trying to cope with this jealousy I have. In due time, I hope. And that is signed, Carrie.
I feel like she doesn't want to be jealous, but I wonder exactly what it is that made her get to
Maybe.
this
Like
point.
what's going on.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Some people also, they will when they're in a new relationship with somebody, they'll judge that relationship on past.
Yeah.
And that you can't do
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
that's a disaster. That's a train wreck.
Yeah.
And you can't.
You're already
that's-
setting yourself up.
You're setting yourself up for disaster. You know, so I think a lot of people they do that. Maybe that's what she's doing.
Yeah.
You know, she's taking her past experiences and she's putting it towards her new experience, her new boyfriend or her new partner. You know.
True. Kelly, what do you think?
Yeah, I think she's trying. I mean, it sounds like she's trying, and they're talking about it and being honest about it, which is good.
Yeah, I mean,
Good
that's a
start.
good step to start talking about it, but I guess what we would need to know, is it evolving or is it
Exactly,
deflating?
if
Like,
it's
is it
going
starting to get better now?
Yeah.
And I feel like even too, as time goes on, like you become more comfortable with each other. I mean, now we're totally comfortable with each other, and
we?
I don't.
No, I'm just kidding.
We are. I am.
We are. I'm
No,
just
but
kidding.
it's like as time goes on, things start to get easier, and then the jealousy kind of goes away. But going back to what we said prior, you don't want to become stalkerish about it.
Yeah.
You know. So, all right, let's take a vote. What do we think about this relationship? Can it sink or should it swim?
I would
I'm
say
gonna let it
swim.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it swim.
Let it
Unanimous.
swim.
Yeah, you know, it's just
Swim till you get
Excellent.
tired.
being honest and, you
I think
know.
it hasn't gotten to the point where it needs to be broken off.
Yeah.
So
And I think they're at a
Hopefully you
good
don't keep
stage
getting
where they're
better.
talking about it. So
Yeah.
they
Let's
haven't
swim
hit the
for a while.
crazy stage yet. So
Okay.
hopefully she's
Yeah.
When communication
Excellent.
stops is when you got to worry about.
Yes, I agree. Okay, our next story. My boyfriend has been friends with this girl since the 6th grade. He is now 24. I've known him since 7th grade, and we have been dating a little over a year now. I get really jealous of her. He used to have a crush on her. She will text him asking his opinion about other guys, and he has gotten upset about it before. She's even asked him where she should be with a guy, and I just don't feel comfortable about it. If I don't figure something out, I know my jealousy and hatred will ruin us. I just don't know how to get over it. He's a very honest person, and I know he wouldn't ever cheat on me. He's told me that if she ever came on to him, that he would walk away from her and never speak to her again. It'd make me sad that she would do that. It'd make him sad that she would do that, excuse me. Even with all the reassurance, I am still so jealous. Signed, Anonymous. This is kind of a sticky situation
really
because the girl that he's talking to, they've known each other longer, they've been friends longer, but the other side of the coin is, why would you hit him up asking him these questions about other guys, and now he's starting to get jealous, and now the current girlfriend sees that he's getting jealous. So this is like one of those mind games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of mind games.
me either. At first, when he said she was texting him for that kind of advice, like, that's fine. I don't think
course.
there's a problem with that.
But
if
consult your
he's getting-
girlfriend with
yeah,
that,
but
like
if
your
he's getting
BFF.
jealous, I don't know.
that part really made me feel like maybe there's something underlying that he's not aware of yet,
Yeah.
really. But apparently it's coming out that way because he shouldn't be jealous of her. And then also
No.
sending mixed signals that if he did get, if she did come on to him, that he would walk away. I don't know. He's not being truthful.
No,
To himself and
it's
to
a little
his girlfriend.
sketchy
Yeah.
for me. You're already voting, but what do you think?
Just setting themselves up for disaster.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna do that, why be in a relationship with somebody?
Well, whoever Anonymous is that wrote into us, I mean, I'm kind of siding with her here because it's like, I wouldn't want somebody hitting you up asking, well, what do you think of this guy? You think he's cute? Should I go out with him? And then you're judging yes or no because now you're creating the insecurity. Well, you're saying yes because you think he's cute. So now, what is that? You're really, this one person is ruining 3 people's lives, I feel like. So,
Cut that person out of your life.
yeah.
And you gotta do that sometimes. If you want your current relationship to work out,
My advice is to just have him walk away from her or have her walk away from him.
pull the weeds. Pull the weeds.
It's too much of a triangle, and
Yeah.
a relationship needs to be 2 people.
It's
not
going to be a
3.
vicious cycle. So
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like she's
Exactly.
kind of a third wheel. So let's vote.
Just gonna let you
We're gonna-
sink this one.
We're going to sink,
Sink or
and sink.
figure out what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. See if it works out.
Okay, good luck to you, by the way, honey. Okay, our last story. Hi, me and my boyfriend have been dating for over a year. The beginning of our relationship wasn't so good. I found out he was hanging out with this younger girl when we got into an argument. I was really upset. I told him to stay away from me but when it was over, but he swears he didn't do anything and that he loves me and would never cheat on me. My mistake was to forgive him because now I feel like he's always lying about who he's with or lying about where he's going or who he's texting. I even give him a hard time when he wants to go out with the guys. I hate feeling like this. I want to get over it and move on with our relationship because I do love him so much, but I'm not sure if I can. I feel like jealousy is about to ruin my relationship for good, and that is signed Lisa. Another little sticky situation.
Yeah.
She don't trust him.
Yeah.
But with sort of good reason, because he hung out with another girl when they had an argument. I mean, how many of us argue with our boyfriends and fiance?
Right then, and to me, if you have an argument, you need to work it out. By hanging out with somebody else means you're a cheater.
It shows
Bing.
that
Yeah.
you're willing to just walk away from something that's supposed to
Exactly.
mean something to you and
Right.
go run into the next best thing.
When
For the
something's
time
broken,
being.
you have to fix it, not walk
I
away from
agree.
it. So
She sounds like she's more into him than he is to her, obviously.
That's
why
what it
stay with him
sounds like.
then?
Yeah. Well, this is where like the insecurity comes and where you really want to hold on to this person, but you really have to just train yourself to be very thick-skinned and say this isn't a good situation, and
You
I kind of
can't
see this
hold on.
going for disaster.
Yeah. I
You
don't
can't hold
see
on
it.
to somebody though if they're not going to stay. If they're trying to get out the door and you're holding on to them, let them go.
Yeah.
They ain't the person for you.
True.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be like
Yeah.
that much of an effort to get somebody to be with you,
Especially after only a year.
Yeah.
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 And if you have to ask your boyfriend or girlfriend, did you do something while you weren't with me, and you're not completely 100% sure of their answer,
yeah.
Yeah.
you're always
Yeah.
going to have that in the back of
Something's-
your head.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Always, for the rest of the time you guys are together.
And you're
Yeah.
going to be miserable. I mean, why be in a miserable relationship when you could find happiness with somebody better?
2
Yeah.
years down the line, they're going to have an argument, and he's going to be like, remember that girl? And
Yeah.
It's never, they're
It's
never
not
going to
gonna-
let it go.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
Things are going to get worse. Deuces.
So let's vote.
Yeah. Deuces as well.
I'm going to say
We're going to sink that ship.
Sink
it.
Okay,
to the
one
bottom.
success story today.
yes.
Good luck to you guys. Okay, before we close, let's talk about some tips that can help you overcome jealousy in your relationship to have a successful swim-on type relationship. Our first one is believe your partner or learn to trust them. Now, I know we just had some sketchy stories there, but I think sometimes you just have to go with your gut on some things. And even though you've been burned in the past or maybe been cheated on, think of this as a whole new ball game and forget about what happened in the past and focus on your new relationship. It's either going to work or it's not. It's going to sink or it's going to swim. Those are the only two options.
It's not fair to
unfortunately.
judge somebody on your past relationships either.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a
And
whole
if you're
new
not
ball
going to
game.
put it as a new relationship, then don't even bother getting into one.
And number two, confidence is the sexiest thing in the world. So stop comparing yourself to everybody else that they encounter throughout their day. Work on yourself. Be confident. Confidence is sexy. Number three, but be prepared to lose them. Hey, if it's not in the cards, the next one will be. So don't hold on to something that's just a miserable situation. Just be prepared, move forward. Number four, my favorite, don't play games. Don't try to make your partner jealous. And I feel like that first story or the second story where he's best friends with her
Yeah.
and they're texting,
Yeah.
that's kind of like a game. That's one of those mind games where she's probably trying to cause controversy there so that she breaks up with him and then she could have him.
And
Okay,
he's
you
kind
guys
of
got
going
that?
along with it. And
Yeah.
I don't like
just
any of
not a
that.
good
So that's a perfect example of a game. Number five, stop confusing what you make up in your mind about your mate with reality. And I think a lot of people do that too, where they're so insecure, they start thinking of all these scenarios in their head, and then they start believing them, but it
Yeah.
never happened.
And nothing
Yeah.
ever
I
happened.
mean, you're really just setting your relationship up to fail.
Disaster,
Like
yeah.
you want him to fail almost, and that's not going to get you anywhere. Number six, lengthen the leash. Keeping him on a short leash will only cause them to pull away, break it off, and take off. So extend the leash out a little bit.
agree.
Give them a
Yeah,
little
I
bit
agree
more
with that.
freedom.
Can't be a prison.
No,
You know?
absolutely not. Your relationship should be something fun and enjoyable. And
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
one girl,
Yeah.
she said she was jealous when he wanted to go hang out with his guy friends. You
Yeah.
can't have that.
No.
You can't let him.
You need your girl time. He needs his
Yeah.
guy time.
You should be together because you both equally want to, not because one needs you to be and the other one's
Yeah.
trying to get away. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's got to be
So,
an equal balance.
go into our archives and watch the me and we time.
Yes.
Like perfect examples in there. And last but not least, use your imagination to make yourself feel good, not worse. So work on your confidence. Confidence is sexy. Walk around with your head held up. So, well, guys, we are about ready to wrap. You did an awesome job today. How do you feel? You were so nervous.
Still am.
Heart's still beating.
Well, we had a lot of fun today. Anything else you guys want to add before we close?
I think if you have a jealousy problem or you have a relationship based on jealousy, you have to look at yourself before you can look at your relationship.
Yeah.
If it's something that you have control over, either fix it or cut the relationship before it gets uglier.
Yeah.
I
Excellent.
think
Good
that's
advice.
Go with your gut is the
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
thing to take away because
Women's intuition.
Usually, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, guys, thank you so much. We got to go, but next week we're going to turn the tables a little bit. Send me an email or find me on Facebook. We're going to do Viewer's Choice next week. So, send me a message. Let me know what you want to talk about. We'll talk about it. So, I'm Jason Galka. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.